You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
I think Bellator should do like Corey Graves, like a spinoff of Corey Graves' tattoo show on the WWE Network. Because Caldwell loves his tattoos.
Oh yeah, he's a tatted man.
There's some great pieces of art on that canvas there, and I would love to hear some of the stories. Because when he came out, I was like, I want to know what that one means. I want to know what that one means.
Well, you know what? Next time I talk to him, I'll ask him, because I seem to interview him like twice a year, maybe 3 times. So I could always ask him to tell me some stories about his tattoos.
Because I know every tattoo tells a story, and she got one for this win. So
well, he had a story to tell after the fight when I interviewed him, but it wasn't about his tattoos. Did you hear what he said?
No, go ahead.
He wants the Armpit Brothers. He'll take them any way he can get them. If he has to fight Patricio for 2 rounds and let Patricky tag in, he'll whip his ass too.
Tag team match.
He said he'd take him any way he could get him. He wants both Armpit Brothers, and he doesn't care how he does it.
Have they ever been called that before?
I asked him that. I was like, did you just come up with that on the fly? Were you planning that? He's like, no, it just came to me. It's just, they stink. They're pussies. They don't want to fight me.
Oh, boy. The thoughts of Stevie J do not reflect the AngryMarks.
No, these are not my thoughts. These are Darian Caldwell's thoughts. In fact, let me be clear. I have infinite respect for both Patricio and Patricky. I have interviewed both of them and never had a bad word with either of them.
Wow. Well, I mean, it'd be an interesting fight, that's for sure. Well, let's, where do I go from there? Well, is there anyone we'll go to the news. We'll start with Caldwell. Is there anyone at featherweight that can beat him?
Well, if he gets his fight with Patricio, that's probably the person who could, if anybody could.
Yeah.
Right now, he looks like, I mean, he used to be a featherweight before he won the bantamweight title, so he looks pretty comfortable at 145. I don't think this is a hard division for him to manage, and if he wants to be a 2-belt champion, that could be in his future.
Now, I have a question about Michael Chandler.
Okay. Funny you
He's
should say that, given I mentioned him earlier.
Free agent, right?
I believe he's unrestricted at the moment.
And Alvarez is a free agent, Eddie Alvarez.
Also unrestricted at the moment.
Could you see a trilogy fight?
I believe Scott Coker was on the record as saying, if Alvarez calls, we'll listen.
Would you want to see that in 2019?
I wouldn't say no to it.
I think it'd be a hell of maybe a semi-main event. Put on a big show. Give them enough time for both fighters to have a decent camp. Be a great fight. I mean, that's license to print money right there.
It wouldn't be any less of a fun fight than their last meetings were, so...
That was epic.
Yeah. I can't think of many fights that I've enjoyed more than Chandler versus Alvarez either time, so...
Now, let's move to UFC. There's a few notes here. There's an interesting stat I saw, and I had to write this down. Daniel Cormier has passed every drug test in 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
17 years of being drug tested, not one failure.
Is that supposed to be unusual?
17 years? I mean, you should get like a gold watch or something. I mean, that's...
but seriously, is that supposed to be unusual?
Well, considering how many...
That should be normal.
Well, pardon my French, how many fucking failures did we have last year?
Yeah, but, like, most fighters should never fail ever. If they're...
Well, I remember, was it the USADA had this merchandise for fighters, or they gave recognition to those fighters who never failed the test?
Mm-hmm.
I think Cormier, like, that should be like the platinum level. Like, that should be the gold standard, right? Considering who, I don't know, his opponent, Drugs, Jones, Lesnar. He's fought a few guys who have failed some tests here and there.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong about that. I'm just saying this is not something that should be considered out of the ordinary. This should be what every fighter should be doing.
Yeah, but sadly it's not the norm. That's the problem. Dana White has been quoted as saying that GSP is not getting the winner of Conor and Khabib.
I believe he was even more explicit than that. I think he said, we're not in the business of giving GSP one-off fights to make money.
Doesn't that contradict the last fights?
I suppose it does, but here's the thing with GSP and Dana White. They both need each other, but I don't think they really like each other.
Well, Superman needs Lex Luthor.
Something like that. It's a case of GSP knows what he's worth, and he's not afraid to ask for it, and Dana White doesn't like that kind of arrogance.
Well, let's move on to another UFC note here. It says Amanda Nunes is fighting Nina Arsenov. No, wait, sorry.
Anzarov, not Arsenov.
Sorry, they're not fighting, they're engaged. My mistake.
Well, that could be a fight of a different kind.
Well, congratulations to both of them. That's got to be I think it's the first in UFC for two UFC fighters to be engaged. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting. It's rare. If it is, I just can't think of one.
Ronda Rousey, Travis Brown?
Well, they're not both in UFC right now.
But they were at the time.
But they were at the time. Yeah, I guess that one works. Do you want to talk about Phil Davis?
Sorry, do I want to talk about what?
Oh, sorry.
You broke
My
up.
mistake. Phil Davis.
What about Mr. Wonderful?
Oh, I thought there was some news about him. I thought I saw something this week.
I believe he's fighting Vadim Nemkov in Israel.
Yes, that is the news that I saw. It's good. I like the fact they're bringing a big-name fighter to the Israel show for Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
Does Nemkov, if he wins...
That's a big, big win for him.
What's the old thing I always say? House money?
Mm-hmm. And
he knocks off Phil Davis. Damn.
Well, that's just it. He's got knockout power because 8 of his 9 wins have been by knockout.
That's what I'm bringing up because Davis, he has to respect that knockout power because if he doesn't, he leaves that chin out for even a split second. But Davis, his wrestling is legendary.
And his striking is underrated because he has finished people, including very recently, Linton Vassell.
Which isn't an easy task.
No, Linton's a very tall, well-built, solid fighter all around. 2-time contender for the light heavyweight title.
Now it's been made official. Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, UFC 30, the rematch, New York City.
UFC 30?
230.
Oh, I thought you said 30. I was like, damn, time machine. Come on, loan me that TARDIS. I'll go back and play some bets. I knew you were going to say TARDIS. After you said time machine, I'm like, he's going to say TARDIS in 3, 2. What do you want me to do? Go get the phone booth from Bill and Ted?
No.
Excellent! Bogus.
You see, kids, Bill and... No, never mind.
Actually, both of those are on Amazon Prime right now.
And there's going to be a sequel coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Rockhold has been quoted as saying he won't go up to light heavy unless quote, it's something sexy.
Okay, then.
Luke Rockhold in light heavy.
Well, he's big enough to do that.
There are some fighters where you could say you can justify them jumping up a weight class. Rockhold?
All he'd have to do is put on some muscle, because he's kind of skinny at middleweight.
Well, I mean, the first name that comes out at me, if he puts on some muscle, would be the Mauler.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. That'd be a damn good fight.
But, I mean, he's got to get past Weidman first, and that's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
Now, someone texted me this, and I laughed. Did you hear about Khabib versus Conor in Moncton, New Brunswick? And I'm like, what are you drinking, and can I have some? It's Lobov and Tukugov, who Lobov, of course, is Conor's buddy, and Tukugov is Khabib's buddy. Artem Lobov. Yeah.
My boy Artem.
Do you think we'll see Khabib or Conor in Moncton?
Maybe.
That would be interesting if you have them both cage side and have a ton of security.
Hell, I kind of wondered if Conor was going to show up for James's fight.
It's a good.
I guess he didn't want to come to Sioux Falls. That's not big enough for the notorious one.
No. Looks like Evan Dunham is retiring after UFC Fight Night 137.
Okay.
And one more news note before we talk about UFC this weekend. Blast from the past, Stevie. Gray Maynard
The bully.
fighting Nick Lentz at 229 in Vegas.
Wow. I like it.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Please put this on the main card. Don't let this get bumped to the prelims.
Or at least put it on television.
Yes, I will agree with that. Now, let's talk about this weekend show, UFC in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Gaethje and Vick.
At the
What's
Pinnacle
main event
Bank
again?
Arena, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying it holds about 8,500?
I don't know if that's the exact number. Let me check.
When was the last time you were in that venue? Because it is in your home state.
I went there for a WWE house show that probably had 8,500 people, but it looks like it can hold 15,000. But let me just say this. That's 15,000 for like a basketball game, but they're going to have an octagon in there, and they're going to have production cameras and everything. So that's probably not 15,000 seats with the cage and everything.
Maybe 10?
Maybe 12.
Okay, 12 would be a good crowd.
Yeah.
Main event, Justin Gaethje against James Vick.
Mm-hmm. Executioner against Justin Gaethje. That's a great fight.
I'm going to say this fight doesn't go to the judges.
I'd be very shocked if it did.
Gaethje, it's kind of nice when you have a guy who, let's see, 20, 30, 33, 34 fights combined, 3 losses.
Yeah, these are some hard-hitting mofos, too.
Yeah, well, how the hell, like, I'm 6'3", Vic is 6'3". Vic
Mm-hmm.
is 155, are you serious?
Yeah, he's like Donald Cerrone in that respect.
I don't want a fighter to be like as skinny as Conor was at 145. When he flexed, all you saw was bone.
Mm-hmm.
But Vic, I don't know how he does it, but he doesn't look starving.
No? But that's probably not the greatest weight cut in the world for him to be making. Incidentally, did you see that Mike Whitehead missed weight for his Bellator fight by 15 pounds?
Bruce Marpel Harris missed weight by 35 for a grappling tournament.
Yeah, but still, I was just blown away by that. I was like, dude, you signed to fight Romero Cotton at 185, and you came in at 200. What the hell?
He probably liked the Golden Corral.
Yeah, I guess so. They do have good steak.
Don't you ever been to a Golden Corral?
You really should.
There's a few restaurants in the States I should visit. I'm sure I go to the States, I'm going to put on like 20 pounds of muscle. Not muscle.
You'll eat 20 pounds of muscle.
Andre Fili against Michael Johnson. This fight I'm really looking forward to.
Touchy-feely.
I hate that nickname.
Don't blame me.
Oh boy. Michael Johnson, up and down, 17-12. Andre Fili, 17-5. So, I mean, I like Johnson to win here, but if Fili wins, I won't be shocked as opposed to other fights on this card.
Right.
But I'm going to pick Johnson by... I'm going to say decision.
I'm going to pick Fili by knockout.
Okay. Courtney Casey and Angela Hill.
Overkill.
Underrated,
Angela Hill.
This fight's underrated. I think the fans should really tune in for this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, Angela Hill is definitely underrated.
And, Courtney Casey, there's a lot of talent there.
Mm-hmm. Fights haven't always gone her way, but she does have a lot of talent.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about Ellenberger on this show before. He's fighting Brian Barberina. If Ellenberger loses here, is he done?
I really can't imagine what's left for him if he can't win in Lincoln. That's like a last stand on the home court. Yeah. That's the final hurrah right there.
Well, Barberina's going to bring the fight to him, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ellenberger's going to win this fight, actually.
You'd hope so.
Yeah. Hometown crowd, nothing to lose. I could see him winning here.
Again, you would hope so.
John Morega and Divison Figueiredo.
I'm 99% sure you didn't pronounce that right.
14-0 against Morega, who's 19-6.
Yeah, but Morega is super tough.
At 125, yeah, he's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Anders and Tim Williams. So from a hardcore perspective, this is a good fight card.
Oh, yeah. No question.
On the prelims, what do we have? We've got Warley Alves, James Krause.
That's a good fight.
Yuri Alcantara against Corey Sandhagen.
Mm-hmm.
Perez Sanchez.
Don't you
Mickey
mean
Gall.
Alcantara, not Alcantari?
Alcantara, my mistake.
Yeah.
Mickey Gall and George Sullivan. Oh, boy. I don't know. Mickey Gall, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to the prelims on Fight Pass. Joanne Calderwood and Kalindra Faria.
Yeah, Kalindra Faria.
Drew Dober, John Tuck, and Luke Sanders and Rani Yaya.
That's a very solid Fight Pass.
I mean,
that's
early.
That's main card fights on a house show.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think this is something I can probably catch live on Fight Pass. But Sanders Yaya is the first fight on Fight Pass. You can't tell me they're putting this fight on just to get eyeballs on Fight Pass.
I really don't know what the strategy is there, so I'm not even going to try to speculate. It's just a bonus for you for having Fight Pass. That's all it is.
You don't think it's a loser leaves town?
Maybe. I don't know. I think they like both of those guys.
Yeah. John Tuck and Drew Dober will put on a good show as well, so definitely the Fight Pass prelims. Definitely check them out. Also, check out this week's Thursday Night AMP.
That's right, because Rowan Unrau from everybody's favorite province will be joining us to talk about SummerSlam.
He's from Ontario?
No, the other favorite province.
Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Thank you. Also home to Jordan J. Garber.
There you go, and home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So,
and the Jets, baby. Jets, Jets.
Hey, Paul Fontaine.
Absolutely.
All right, so the great show there. You're going to talk the fallout from SummerSlam and the Raw and SmackDown that just happened. New Japan, of course. Big news this week as well with the card for, was it Long Beach? I sent you that message about, was it Cody? All right. Well, for Stevie J, I'm Peter H., the Hardcore Canadian. Thanks for listening. And as I always say, never leave it to the judges. Good night, everybody.
See ya.